Yes, love it. Yeah, great back, great back. Hi there, great that you're watching this new Tools for Dummies live.
Yes, and today you're going to learn the basics of photography. And it's a really fun hobby to have. It's all about looking around you, finding the right subject and placing it nicely into a frame.
Yeah, and then making sure that you get the lighting right and also making sure that you take your picture at the exact right moment.
But how do you do that?
Yeah, well, I do have a little experience with that, but
Okay,
maybe we can go to Maurice, our experienced photographer in the field.
Yeah, we have a live connection with him.
Yeah, so I don't know what he's doing right now, but...
Are you there, Maurice?
Maurice? Whoa! Okay, I think Maurice is ready for the barbecue. Well, maybe we should do the first topic then.
Yeah, the first topic is about composition.
Yeah, composition. Oh, well, composition is, I do know something about composition.
Okay.
Composition is all about getting an object, maybe this nice bottle that we got from our sponsors, getting it nicely into the frame.
In the best possible way.
In the best possible way.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at that. Okay, we're standing on my own balcony, and as you can hear, there's a lot of noise because they are busy with the road. But I do have a nice subject to make a picture of across the road. It's the Kerøsene building, and well, let's take that to make a nice composition. Let me show you how you do that. Okay, it's nice weather, so we can take a nice picture of the Kerøsene building. Well, what most people do when they start making pictures is just placing the subject in the middle of the frame and then take the picture. And that's okay, it's nice when you make a square picture, for instance. But what makes your picture even more pleasing to the eye is when you make use of the rule of thirds. And how can you make use of the rule of thirds? Well, the first thing you do is go into the menu and search for an option that's called the grid, or raster in het Nederlands. And you can turn on the grid and make use of this 3x3 squares. And then when you have that and you go back to your view, you can see that your screen is divided into these 9 squares. So you have 2 horizontal lines and 2 vertical lines. And now you can make use of that to make a nicer composition. But what's the good reason to use the rule of thirds? Why not just place your subject in the middle and then take your picture? Well, there have been a lot of studies on this subject, and it's just proven that our eyes are attracted to something that's more, well, just off-center than straight in the middle. So that's why a picture that's made with the rules of third in mind is more pleasing to the eye. Doesn't mean that a picture with something straight in the middle isn't nice, especially when it's completely symmetrical. You can make really nice pictures, but for usual subjects like this one, we recommend that you make use of the rule of thirds. What you can do is make use of the horizontal lines to place your horizon on, so either on 1/3 like this or on 2/3, so you can have more sky or more land, and then make use of the vertical lines to place your subject on, so either on this side or either on that side. So we just made use of a real camera to make a picture, but of course you can also make use of your mobile phone because it has a lot of the same functions as your classic camera, and it also has the grid. Okay, let me show you how you do that on your mobile phone. Well, for iPhone it's going into the settings and then scroll down until you find your camera. There it is. Then go into the settings and search for this option, the composition and then the grid. Activate the grid. Well, on mine it's already on. And then when you go into your camera, you can see that you have the same grid as I had on my classic camera. And then you can make use of that to make a nice composition. So this iPhone has a fairly wide lens in comparison to my normal camera, and you can go even further. And it gives us nice. Oh, there's my finger as well. It gives us nice extra new options for making use of the grid, because now when your main subject is further away, you can also make use of these crossings that you have here. And it's nice to put your main subject on one of the crossings and then make the picture. And it will give you new views each time you take a picture. So you can put your horizon again on 1/3, leave your subject on that crossing, then make the picture, and then see what the end result will be. Well, of course, now I have my balcony in the lower corner. So just make some room and then take the picture again and see what effect that has. Just try it out for yourself and see yourself getting better at it each time you take your new picture. Well, let's see if Maurice is doing well again. Are you there?
Are you okay?
Hey everyone, sorry for the delay. I was trying to catch some lightning strike with my camera, but I caught it with my head. But before you get distracted by my new haircut, I'll put on this cap.
Oh, we're really happy you're safe. So we just talked about compositions, but if you want to take your photography skills to the next level, it's not only about choosing the right subject and placing it into the frame nicely, right, Maurice?
Yeah. If you want to make a nice picture, you want it to be well exposed, so not too dark, not too light, and there are 3 things that can affect that exposure of your image. But what exactly happens when you take a picture with your camera? So you click on the button on top of your camera, and then the light comes into your lens, where there's the aperture. And the aperture controls the amount of light that comes into the camera. So the wider the aperture, the more light can come into your camera. Then you have the shutter, and the shutter is basically a door which can open very quick or very slow, and that's controlled with the shutter speed. So the longer the shutter speed, the longer the light can come into your camera. The last step is the sensor, and the sensor captures the light, and you can control the sensitivity of that sensor with the ISO. The higher the ISO, the brighter your picture will get. Since it's a little bit too dangerous out of here with all those lightning strikes flying around, I'm going to grab my camera and I'm going back to the studio.
Six hours later.
Each of the 3 things that control the light also have some side effects. I'll talk you through all 3 of them, starting with the aperture. For instance, take a look at this portrait. The left one is taken on automatic mode, while for the right one I took the time to set everything up myself.
Wow, the whole background is blurry. I really like that.
That's called the bokeh effect. With this effect you can make your subject come loose from the background. And take a look at this one.
Well, I really like those strokes of light.
Yeah, I really love them. But you have to put your camera on a tripod, right? Because the camera must not move.
Exactly. And by adjusting the shutter speed, you can make the light streaks longer.
Yeah.
So the longer the shutter speed, the more you can play with the light.
This is so cool.
Yeah, this really looks like a lot of fun. I can't wait to try this out myself.
Yeah, me too.
And take a look at these 2 pictures I took in the dark. On the left one you can't see anything, but on the right one you can. That's because of a high ISO. The downside of a high ISO is a lot of noise.
Okay. Well, Danny, I don't know about you, but I still don't know how it works. We do have some experience, but still.
Yeah, I don't know how to work with the Lumix either. Well, not yet anyway. So maybe you can help us with that as well, Maurice. How can we make the settings at the Lumix so in such a way that the pictures will look like the way you made them?
Before you're going to take a picture, you want to decide what kind of picture you're going to take. Are you going to shoot a landscape, a portrait? Do you want to freeze the movement, or do you want those light streaks we talked earlier about? Each kind of picture has its own mode on the camera. So if you're going to take a portrait picture, for example, you're going to place the camera in the aperture mode, which is the A on the wheel. In the aperture mode, you control the aperture and the camera is going to calculate the ISO and the shutter speed. So we're going to change the aperture to the lowest number. That number is called an f-stop. The aperture is measured in f-stops. The lower the number, the wider the aperture and the smaller the depth of field. So the place in the picture which is sharp is going to be very shallow. And we're going to zoom all the way in on our subject. Then we're going to half press the button to focus and press all the way down to take the picture. If you want to shoot a landscape picture, we can keep it in the aperture mode, because for a landscape picture we want everything sharp. So we're going to zoom out until we see those 3 letters. We're going to turn this wheel all the way to the right until we're at F8. And again, half press to focus and press it all the way down to take the picture. So remember, a low F number means a wide aperture, which means lots of light is coming in, and a blurry background. A high F number means less light is coming in, but everything is in focus. So now we're going to take 2 pictures again, but now with the shutter speed. One where we're going to freeze the moment, and the other one where we're going to capture the movement. Just like you saw in the examples. The first one where you saw the cars were standing still, and the other one where you saw the cars were moving by. We're going to start by freezing the movement. We're going to change the mode to the shutter mode, and we're going to set the shutter speed to a high number, which means a short shutter speed. Then we're going to ask someone to launch a chair from the left. And as you see in the picture, the chair is sharp, so it freezes the moment. Now we're going to do the opposite, so we want to capture the movement. We want a lower number, which means a longer shutter speed. And we're going to change it to 1/13th of a second. Then we're going to ask someone to launch the chair again. And that's how you capture the movement. So remember, a high number is a short shutter speed where you can freeze the moment, but less light is coming in. A lower number is a longer shutter speed, which means more light is coming in, and you can capture the movement. To demonstrate how the ISO affects your picture, I'm going to place the camera in the manual mode, and I'm going to set the aperture and the shutter speed myself, and then I'm going to change the ISO to see what the difference is between a low ISO and a high ISO. We're going to start by clicking on the ISO button on your camera, and we're going to select ISO 100, which is the lowest of this camera. Now we're going to focus over there. Now press half and all the way down, and you see, if we click on the playback button, it's almost all dark. Then we go back to the settings. We're going to click on the ISO button again, and we're going to select ISO 6400. And now when I'm going to take a picture, I'm going to show it. It's almost overexposed. So the first one with ISO 100 was a bit too dark, and with a very high ISO it's a little bit too bright. But now you can see the difference between those two. One thing on the picture with the high ISO, you see that you have a lot of noise. So you don't want that much noise in your picture. So now you understand the basics, and you can get started to play around in manual mode. like I am going to do right now. Let's turn off the lights. Okay, first I'm going to set the camera to a timer. You can activate the timer by pressing on this button and then selecting the self timer. For this shot I'm going to use ISO 200. The aperture is at f5 and the shutter speed is 10 seconds. So within that 10 seconds I can play with the light of my phone. Let's activate the timer and start playing with the light. And then this is the end result. Maybe you can get creative with writing your name or making even a better drawing than I did. So that's it for me. Back to the studio.
Wow, this was a lot of information, but it looks really fun and I can't wait to try it out. So maybe we can make, maybe we can write out your name this evening.
Yeah, that would be so cool. I'm really curious what you can do more with this camera.
Yeah, well, try it out for yourself, and you can also make use of our studio.
Yes.
And
Hey, you there! Want to make a movie? Shoot some pictures? Light things up? Bam! We've got it all for you. Cameras, light, action. Kaboom! And remember, never look back. Just walk away. Get your gear at cmimediadesk.nl now.
oh, come on, man. We were just proud to have this commercial-free channel.
Okay guys, looks like this tutorial's over. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. You click on the notification bell to see whenever there's a new video. Thanks for watching and we'll see you next time.
Bonne!